Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In this video we'll be talking on outliers. So I'm first going to define the term outliers so that we are able to determine outliers when given a sequence or a set of data. So what are outliers? An outlier is a number in a set of data that is much larger or much smaller than the other numbers in the sequence. So to understand this, I have set up a few examples to understand the concept. So let's go to our exercise 1 or first exercise. In our first exercise, we are required to determine the outlier, and we are going to do that by just scanning through the set of data and then circling the outliers that are there. So let's look at our first example. We have 12, 18, 15, 11, 42, and 16. Looking at this sequence or this set of data, we can see that most of our numbers are in the tens. As you can see, we have 11, 12, 15, 16, 18, and thereafter we have 42. We can already see that this number is in a sequence and is much larger than the other numbers in the sequence. So we can see that 42 is much larger than the other numbers in the set of data. So that's our outlier in our first example. Then we look at our second example. We have 3, 42, 99, 38, 47, 45, 39, and 41. We can see that most of our numbers are in the 40s, right? And maybe 30, 38 to 40s, yeah. Then we have two numbers that are just not very close to 40, which is 3 and 99. So these will be our outliers because 99 is much larger than the other numbers in the sequence, and 3 is much smaller than the other numbers in the sequence. Then we move on to and we can see that the rest of them are close to each other, or let's say in the same range. Then we move to C. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 9. We can see that 9 is with the sequence and is an outlier because it just doesn't blend in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we skip a whole bunch of numbers, then we go straight to 9. So that's our outlier because it's much larger than the other numbers in our sequence. So let's move on to our second example. In our second example, we are given a set of data from -3, ranging from -3 to 60. And we can see that this data is already ordered in ascending order. So, which of the following statements is true regarding the data that we are given? We have 3 statements and we have 4 statements, and we have to choose one. So let's look at our first one. The value -3 is the only outlier in the sequence. Now, given this set of data, we can see that -3 is smaller than the other numbers in the sequence, but is not much smaller than the other numbers in the sequence. So, looking at this sequence, I'd say 60, probably 49 also could be our outliers. Now, it can be very difficult to just scan through a list of data or a set of data and choose outliers just by looking at the sequence. That's why I'm going to introduce a formula in the next 2 or 3 slides to come, in which we'll be able to get a coordinate that will help us determine our outliers much accurately than just scanning through it and estimating. This sequence would allow us to get, for example, a set like a coordinate like 3 and maybe 51, and any numbers any numbers that are outside of this coordinate are therefore outliers. So if a number is less than -3, it's an outlier, or if a number is greater than 51, it's an outlier. In this case, 60 would be our only outlier. So it's very difficult when you just have to look at a sequence and determine the outlier. That is why that formula exists. But in this case, I'd go with multiple outliers exist, so our fourth option. Yes. Then we move on to our third example. The following temperatures were recorded each day for 2 weeks, and we have numbers 82 to 81. And looking at this, we can see that our set of data is not ordered in any way. So let's just look through the numbers and see which numbers stand out for us. So we have 82, 70, 80. So far we are in the 70s and 80s. And then we just see a 60, 79, 80, 78. Okay, looking at this data, we can see that most of our numbers are in the 80s and 70s. Then we just get a 60. That's just definitely an outlier. So yes, 60 is our outlier. Thank you guys for watching. Please join us in our next video as we try to tackle questions that are going to require us to practice the determining of the median, mean, mode, range, and outliers when given a set of data. That way we'll understand this concept better. So see you in our next videos.